Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the second lecture for today. What does the reader conclude from chapter 1 according to the previous lecture? We conclude something. The narrator emphasized that storms which sweep the heath, or let me read the paragraph so you will not be lost. The narrator emphasized that storms that sweep the heath are frequent. Do you remember? We read more than once about storms and mists and rains. So the storms are frequent on the heath, which participates to making the heath gloomy, dark. Moreover, the heath is named before any of the characters are. Egdon Heath. Egdon Heath is the first name the reader is introduced to, and the first character is named in the novel before any of the other characters. We mentioned that Egdon Heath plays the role of a character, so we can say that it is the first character that took a name or had a name before any of the other characters. Let's go on with the portrayal of the environment in the novel. Let's continue with the description of Egdon Heath in chapter 1. What more did the writer say? Read. The untamable Ishmaelitish thing that Egdon now was, it always had been. Egdon was something and had been something for a long time. It did not change. The reference to Ishmaelitish shows that it is an ancient place. An ancient place. This fictional place is ancient and untamable. Moreover, let's go on reading. Civilization was its enemy, and ever since the beginning of vegetation, its soil had worn the same antique brown dress. Do you remember that the word embrowned? Its dress, the color of its dress is brown. And this color is antique, an antique dress for this dress. This brown dress is an antique dress for Egdon Heath. From where does Egdon Heath gain this color? From its vegetation. So from the beginning of vegetation, its soil had worn the same antique brown dress. What is its vegetation? What is its vegetation? Furs. Furs is its vegetation. The natural and invariable garment of the particular formation of that land. The natural vegetation, which is like a garment for that land. Again, the writer continues with the use of personification. A land does not wear a dress, but in literature it can. Here, Egdon Heath wears an antique brown dress, the same dress that it wore since ancient times, in Ishmaelitish times. And moreover, this dress, this garment is natural and invariable, which gave the land a particular formation. In its venerable one coat, again, one coat, a character. It's a character. The writer decides that Egdon Heath will be a person and has a role in the novel. In its vulnerable one coat lay a certain vein of satire on human vanity in clothes, as if the land with this one coat satirizes humans' vanity in clothes. You know what is vanity? A person on a heath in raiment of modern cut. Raiment means clothing. Clothing of modern cut and colors had more or less an anomalous look, ordinary look, one look. We seem to want the oldest and simplest human clothing, where the clothing of the earth is so primitive. Who speaks? The narrator. What does he describe? He describes Egdon Heath. He presents Egdon Heath. What does he say? He explains that Egdon Heath, the land of Egdon Heath, did not change. The nature of its vegetation did not change, and that affects its color. That affects its color, which is brown. And the reference that the clothing of the earth is so primitive emphasizes the idea that the land is meant by Hardy to be ancient. The reference to pagan past. To a large extent, this novel uses the ancient pagan word, unchecked by Christianity and civilization, as its psychological and physical setting. We mentioned the place and time setting. We mentioned atmosphere as a setting. You have something else as a setting. You have a psychological and physical setting. Let's go back to the previous paragraph. Civilization was its enemy. When you say civilization, what comes to your mind is religion, is technology, is art, writing, change for a better, change that evolves the conditions of human beings. Here, this land is ancient and pagan in nature, in qualities, in attitude, and unchecked by Christianity. Why Egdon Heath is untouchable? We have another paragraph which analyzes why it is untouchable, which justifies why it is untouchable. The narrator adds, those surfaces were neither so steep. The surface what? Of what? The surface of Egdon Heath, the face of Egdon Heath, were neither so steep. What is a steep? Neither so steep as to be destructible by weather, nor so flat as to be the victims of floods and deposits. With the exception of an aged highway, and still more aged barrow presently to be referred to, themselves almost crystallized to natural products by long continuance, even the trifling irregularities were not caused by pickaxe, plough, or spade, but remained as the very finger touches of the last geological change. Again, those surfaces were neither so steep as to be destructible by weather. The nature of the land, that it is not steeping. What is a steep? When you know the meaning, steep like a hill, rising or falling sharply, as to be destructible. So it cannot be destructible by weather. because it is not steeping, it is not like a hill, nor so flat as to be the victims of floods or deposits. Not flat, not a flat land. That's why floods, deposits did not destruct them, were not drowned. With the exception of an aged highway, there is a highway, an old aged highway uh, on the border of the heath, and also there is a more aged barrow. What is a barrow? A barrow is a burial, a place where people, a piece of land on earth, people were buried and remained that place for many ages. Those and this aged barrow, in which people themselves almost crystallized to natural products, crystallized, preserved, like when someone preserves fruits by putting it with sugar. Those uh, dead people, buried people, are crystallized to natural products by long continuance because they remained for a long time in that place, for many ages. Moreover, the narrator adds, even the trifling irregularities were not caused by pickaxe. The trifling irregularities of that land did not change even by neither a pickaxe, plough, or spade. The tools of a farmer, the tools of a peasant, but remained. How did they remain? Remained as the very finger touches of the last geological change. The old geological change did not change, remained as it is. Do you see why Egdon Heath is presented as untouched? Because it cannot be tamed, it cannot be distracted by weather, uh, it cannot be a victim to a flood, drowned. There is only one aged highway. There is only one highway uh, in Egdon Heath and one aged barrow there. What else in on Egdon Heath? Who analyzes the landscape? Who gives us these analyses? He is the narrator. He analyzes events, he analyzes people, and especially landscape without getting emotionally involved in it. He narrates, he tells, he analyzes, but without getting emotionally involved. He is not affected emotionally. Because, you remember, he is an objective narrator, because the point of view of narration is a third person point of view, or a third person narrator. He is neutral. Because he is neutral, he does not get involved emotionally. He only narrates, he only tells. He shows how tools, according to these last clauses, even the trifling irregularities were not caused by pickaxe, plough, or spade, but remained as the very finger touches of the last geological change. He shows how tools could not change the heath or even touch it. He stresses the nature of the heath as ancient, that even the burial place has turned to natural products in the land. What does Hardy explore in chapter 1? In the fake country of Wessex, which is Egdon Heath, we said that Egdon Heath is a fictional place. In the fake country of Wessex, Hardy explored social issues. You will read about social issues in the novel The Return of the Native. The impact of, of industrialization, for example, on the countryside, his own ideas on nature and fate, and so on. You did not meet these social issues yet, but on and on, when we will continue reading, we will read about these social issues. The impact of industrialization on the countryside, his own ideas on nature and fate, and so on. The Heath was sort of laboratory for Hardy's ideas. He uses this heath to present these ideas. So it was like a laboratory. The land and nature play a huge role in the return of the native. I'm repeating this sentence. It's, it's also worth noting that Hardy presented a rural area, not London, not a city. He presented a rural area in The Return of the Native, and this influenced the direction of the novel, the direction this novel took. Hardy set the novel about 25 years in the past, so he did not only present rural area, a countryside, but moreover, he sets the novel 25 years in the past. One may ask, why? What is the justification? Hardy is a realist author, a realist novelist, and poet. The past was a way for realist authors to explore social issues. So this is why he sets the novel 25 years in the past to explore social issues. They use the past as a way for presenting these issues. So for realist authors concerned with social themes, it made sense to go back in time to explore them. But what are these social issues that we will meet with in The Return of the Native? These are the social themes in the novel: man and the natural world, fate and the free will, love, family, tradition and custom, pride, dissatisfaction, guilt and blame, isolation. Certainly, we will not study all of them. We will concentrate on two of them. And because we have also characters to study, we have imagery. But now we took personification. In the previous lecture, we took personification. So we will not study all these themes. We will concentrate on two of them. I finished my lecture. Wish that you have understood. And I remind you again, this novel is not for enjoyment, it is for a study. Send me your questions and wait the homework after reading the lecture well.